Hi everyone and welcome back to Business 100. I want to take a closer look at the reports that you're going to be doing for our course. So remember, we have several different types of assignments in our course. We have our homework, I showed you that, and also our chapters in Cengage. And then you're also going to be doing 3 different reports. Now, the homework I mentioned is focused on businesses that already exist and that are external to our course. The purpose of the reports are a little bit longer and they're worth more in points for our class. The reports will focus on a business idea of your own choosing. So think about the reports as being the development of your own business idea. Now, I understand that many of my students are already doing businesses of their own, and that's great. You can use an existing business idea. I don't expect you to have already launched a business. After all, this is an introductory course. But it's up to you the type of business idea that you choose. So choose something that you're interested in. If you're already doing something, you're going to take a deeper dive into creating the components that will eventually fit together into what might become a business plan. Creating a full-on business plan is really beyond the scope of this introductory course, but we're going to get close. We're going to get a lot of them. So I'm looking at our Canvas homepage. You'll be looking at your own Canvas homepage with your own correct due dates. And again, what we've seen is we've done some homework, we've done some chapters, and then you have reports. All right, report number 1, and then report number 2, report number 3, and that's going to take us through the whole semester. But for the sake of clarity, I'm going to go back up here to our course introduction, and I'm going to open up the assignment overview, because this is going to give us a really clear picture of what's due in our reports. So remember, we have 3 reports, 4 homework assignments, 11 textbook chapters. Later on, we'll be pitching our business idea, but right now let's focus on reports 1, 2, and 3. You will find in our course homepage, in that calendar that we always look at, that if you open up the assignment prompts, you'll see that I've given you some templates, I've given you a little bit of a worksheet, I've asked some questions. You'll also see my assignment rubric. You should be fairly familiar with that by now. But I want to just give you a brief overview of what we're doing with these reports. Reports 1 and 3, so here we go, report 1 and report 3 are linked. They're based on a business idea of your own choosing. Again, it can be an idea that you're already working with. It can be something new that you've always wanted to do. Now, it has to be feasible. And by feasible, I mean you cannot put a Subway sandwich shop on Mars. Even though when Elon Musk finally creates a colony on Mars, I think the first thing people are going to want when they live on Mars is maybe a Subway sandwich shop. Maybe not the first thing they're going to want, but sooner or later, trust me, we'll have a Subway sandwich shop on Mars. The problem is we don't have a colony on Mars right now. Not yet. Not at the moment that I'm making this video. So that's not feasible right now. You could, if you wanted to, buy into a Subway franchise. You could create your own sandwich shop if you think you've got the best sandwich recipe ever. You could do that. You can create a coffee shop. The business math on coffee shops is not that great. And the reason why is coffee is expensive. It's hard to harvest. You have to import it. So the business math, the cost of running a coffee shop gets expensive really fast. Students always tell me that the coffee shop of their dream would be, something where the coffee is cheap, the pastries are great, and it's open 24/7 and they have live music. Okay, that doesn't exist. Why doesn't it exist? Because it's really expensive. And so I want you to think about what's feasible, but also what might be sustainable in terms of making a profit in the long term. Now, the business world is shifting based on current economic conditions, and that's okay. The business world is never static. So you might find that digital technology, creating an app, developing an app for your phone or for the, something that allows you to compete online. Maybe that's what you want to do, and that's fine, but then you need to ask yourself certain questions. Do you have programming capabilities, or do you know somebody who does? So it's one thing to have an idea, it's another thing to actually be able to launch that idea in the business world. So these are some of the realistic questions that you need to think about. You can, you can have your own clothing line. You can create your own line of fashion. You might start out making your own clothes, and what you're going to find is that it takes a long time to do things by hand. And so you might need to eventually have a factory. Where is that going to be? Is it going to be in Los Angeles? Is it going to be located in another country where the cost of labor is maybe a little bit cheaper? So there's your initial business idea, and then there's growing your business. So you can think about all of those questions, but for the sake of our reports, you're going to answer some questions, and I've listed them here. And again, when you go into the actual prompt, you'll see that I've given you some helpful worksheets. But for the overview, in your first report, choose an idea, choose a business idea, give it a name, write a mission statement, come up with your competitive advantage. If you've done the homework, remember we looked at some other businesses, this should sound familiar because I had you look at the mission statement and I had you look at the competitive advantage of an existing business. So this should sound familiar. Now do it for your own business idea. What's your product or service? Describe it. Now you're also going to do an industry analysis and a SWOT analysis. So let me take you out really quickly to the first report, because I'll show you, here's report number 1. Don't freak out if you don't understand the actual terms that I'm using, because this essentially is what an industry analysis looks like. Every industry has a price leader, a quality leader, and a service leader. Price leader means you have the lowest prices. Quality and service leader means you have the best quality and service. And then you have a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So in my generic list that I'm showing you in the assignment overview, if you don't understand a term, make sure you open up the actual homework assignment, because that's where you'll find more information. You'll also, if you're doing the textbook chapters, you'll be reading about this in the textbook. All right, let's keep going here. So that's report number 1. All right, create a business idea and then step it through all of these components. I'm going to jump down for a moment to report number 3. Report number 3, you're going to take that same existing business idea, and now we're going to walk it through marketing. We're going to do a marketing analysis. You'll have chapters in the textbook that talk about marketing, creating a marketing mix. We're going to create a management structure in an organizational chart, and then we're going to create a flow of operations. And I've given you some homeworks that will also help you understand marketing and operations. So by the time you get to report number 3, you'll have read enough in the textbook and you'll have done enough homeworks to help you round out this report. So again, report number 1 and report number 3 are really based on your own business idea. Now, report number 2 is the financial component. You can't have a business without having some finance. But I'm not assuming that you're already running a business. And so you may not already be doing business finances, and that's perfectly fine. However, in order to succeed in business, you do have to have a basic understanding of a couple of financial documents. And so for report number 2, we're going to do the financial piece, but we're going to do it on our own personal finances. All right, so I'm going to go back out here. Remember, I'm just giving you an overview right now. I'm going back out here to our home page. So again, your homeworks, your chapters. I talked about report number 1. You'll notice as I scroll down, Here it is. You'll see a link in your homework that says you need to start collecting financial data. And I'm going to click on that and open it up. This is preparation for report number 2. About 1 month before that report is due, I want you to start keeping track of your financial data. Money coming in, where's your money coming from? And money going out, what are you spending your money on? Now, if you've taken any kind of financial course, you'll know that what I'm really showing you here is an income and expense statement. Businesses call it a profit and loss sheet. Where's your money coming from? Where's it going? And I've given you some categories of things that most people spend their money on. I want you to track the details. And the best way of doing that, you can use, there's lots of apps. You can put an app on your phone that helps you track things. But the best way that I've found to do it is just to track every single expense. What you're spending on coffee, what you're spending at the sandwich shop. If you're, it's interesting. Right now, if you're limited by the pandemic, your expenses may have changed. You may not be spending as much going out on entertainment or tourism, for example. Most people are surprised at how much they spend on those things. So when you do your finances, I want you to take a closer look at what you're spending. And then we're going to do something with that data. So again, this is just to help you track your expenses. So you're going to start collecting your financial data, right? And that's 1 month before report number 2 comes due. And I'm going to open up, I'm just scrolling down on our home page. Here's report number 2. All right, here's what we're going to do for that report. Based on the data that you collected for that income and expense statement, you're going to create an income and expense sheet. You're also going to create a balance sheet. Now, I've given you a little bit of a cheat sheet down here on what a balance sheet looks like. Your textbook, that Cengage book, if you go in and look at the appendix, they have really great examples. You can find examples online, but I've given you some starter worksheets. You can use those. You can find samples online. You don't need to buy any software. The textbook also has really good templates. So use your textbook. You're going to create these 2 financial statements. The income and expense statement, I just showed you that, and the balance sheet. And this is just a starter worksheet, right? The balance sheet is everything that you own and everything that you owe. And then we're going to put that together into a goals worksheet. I'm going to give you another video. So again, this is just an overview of the reports. I'm going to give you another video just on what I want in report number 2. And so we'll pick up there in our next video. I'll see you soon.